Hailey Bieber and Kendall Jenner have been attached at the hip for over a decade, surviving matching outfits, shared exes, and tabloid-fabricated feuds. Now, a 6'5" Australian actor has walked straight into the middle of their friendship, and the internet has a lot to say about it. It starts, as most celebrity drama does, in the desert at Coachella. On April 11, 2026, the first weekend of Coachella kicked off in Indio, California, and the festival's VIP section was, as usual, populated by every marquee name in entertainment. Kendall Jenner and Hailey Bieber were checking out the musical acts at Coachella, with the longtime friends chatting as they went for a walk around the grounds of the music festival on Friday night. Everything appeared normal. Two best friends at a music festival, doing what they always do, showing up, being seen, sharing laughs, walking side by side like they have been since they were teenagers. Nothing about the optics suggested anything was off. A month earlier in March, Kendall and Jacob Elordi had reunited during the Vanity Fair Oscars party, where they joined pals and were photographed in close conversation. Photographs captured the two standing alone, with no other guests in their immediate proximity. At the time, nobody thought much of it. Kendall is photographed talking to people at events every week of her life, but that Vanity Fair photo would turn out to be a breadcrumb on a trail that led straight to the Coachella desert. The real bombshell landed the following night. Dating rumors first sparked when Dukesmoy reported that the pair were spotted, making out and all over each other at Justin Bieber's Weekend 1 Coachella 2026 afterparty. This was not some random house party. The supermodel and the Wuthering Heights actor attended Justin Bieber and Hailey Bieber's private afterparty. During the festival, in other words, the party where Kendall was allegedly seen kissing Jacob Elordi was hosted by her own best friend. According to Dukesmoy, Kendall Jenner and Jacob Elordi stood near each other during Justin Bieber's April 11th set and appeared to sing along. A fan on X also claimed Elordi spent time with the Jenner sisters and Timothée Chalamet. Multiple fan accounts began circulating posts, and everyone with a Wi-Fi connection was suddenly an investigative journalist. Dukesmoy sources alleged they were making out, but no photos surfaced. That, of course, only made people more curious. The gossip blog's anonymous tips set the internet on fire. Almost instantly, various entertainment outlets picked up on the story and added their own alleged sources. According to one outlet, a source said the pair were all over each other during the event hosted by Justin Bieber and Hailey Bieber, while another insider described them as not serious. The report went on to claim that Kendall is 100% Jacob's type, and that they hung out again on Sunday. Here's what made this particular rumor so combustible. It wasn't just about two attractive celebrities being spotted together. It was about where it happened, at Hailey Bieber's own event, and what that implied about the dynamics of one of Hollywood's most visible female friendships. Because Hailey's name was dragged into this story not as a bystander, but as the literal hostess of the party where it all went down. Earlier that same evening, Jenner had been spotted dancing in the crowd, alongside her close friend Hailey Bieber. Meanwhile, Elordi was photographed in the audience watching the performance with a separate group. At some point during the night, those two separate groups apparently merged, and the rest is tabloid history. There were eyewitnesses, anonymous tips, secondhand accounts, and, predictably, not a single clear photograph. But once the internet has a scent trail, it generally doesn't ever stop. People were already connecting dots that may or may not have existed. Fans and media outlets noted that Elordi appeared to be identifiable. In one of Jenner's Instagram photos from her 818 Tequila Coachella party, with observers citing matching tattoos and jewelry visible in the image. Within 48 hours, every entertainment publication in the country had run a version of the story. Multiple insiders, each claiming to have inside knowledge, began painting a picture that went far beyond a single kiss at a desert party. They claimed this had been going on for months, quietly, deliberately, right under everyone's noses. Supermodel Kendall Jenner and actor Jacob Elordi have reportedly been in a relationship for more than 2 months, according to a report by the Daily Mail citing an unnamed source. The source told the publication, "They have been together for a couple of months already, and it's going well," adding they were an item as far back as early February, so it's been a while. That changed the narrative entirely. This was not a Coachella fling. According to insiders, this was a months-old relationship that had simply been exposed in the desert heat. A source added that it helps that they have both been in Los Angeles a lot for the past couple of months, which really gave them time to bond. The timeline placed the beginning of their romance right in the middle of awards season, when Jacob Elordi was making the rounds for his critically acclaimed performance in Frankenstein, and Timothée Chalamet was doing the same for Marty Supreme. Those two actors became close during that stretch, and Chalamet's girlfriend, Kylie Jenner, saw an opportunity. According to the Daily Mail, the matchmaker was Kylie Jenner. Kylie was around Jacob a lot during Timothee's awards season marathon, because Jacob was nominated for Frankenstein, and Timothée was nominated for Marty Supreme. The source said Kylie liked him and thought he would be good for Kenny, so she was like, "Girl, get on it." Kylie, the younger sister, had essentially pushed Kendall toward the man who would become the most talked about detail of her personal life in years. A separate source put it even more bluntly. Kylie is the alpha sister and pushed Kenny to start a romance with Jacob because she wanted to set up double dates with Timothy. She thought it would be fun if she and Timothy and Kenny and Jacob all hung out together. The image was complete. Two sisters dating two actors who happened to be friends, running a synchronized social calendar through Los Angeles' most exclusive circles. But there was one person who was conspicuously absent from every insider account, every anonymous tip, and every post about this budding romance: Hailey Bieber. She hosted the party, she was at the festival, she was photographed walking with Kendall that same evening, and yet no source mentioned her reaction. No insider offered her perspective. No one said whether she knew beforehand, whether she approved, whether she was blindsided. She simply existed in the margins of her own party. That silence from Hailey's side is what fueled the speculation that something deeper was going on. Because in the world of celebrity gossip, silence is never neutral. It is always interpreted. And the interpretation, rightly or wrongly, was that Hailey Bieber was not happy about what happened under her roof. Reports continued to emerge that Jenner and Elordi had been spending time together for months, and that rumors swirled about them being spotted together at Coachella, alongside Kylie Jenner and her boyfriend Timothée Chalamet. The Wuthering Heights actor was also seen in the same area as Kendall and her friends during Justin's Weekend 1 performance, enjoying the show alongside their circle. The more details surfaced, the more it became clear that this was not an isolated incident. Elordi had been folded into the Jenner orbit, and yet in all these group settings, at concerts, at after parties, at brand events, Hailey was right there, right next to Kendall, as she always has been. What the public couldn't figure out was whether Hailey was in on the secret from the beginning, or whether she learned about it the same way the rest of the world did. It did not go unnoticed that Kendall's Coachella photo dump caption read, "Sun is out, hallelujah," a nod to Justin Bieber's song, Hallelujah. The internet dissected that caption with the intensity of a graduate seminar. Was it a tribute to her best friend's husband? Was it a wink? Was it an apology? Was it literally just about the weather? Nobody could agree, but everybody had a theory. His swag hat drew attention given Jenner's close friendship with Hailey Bieber. Jacob Elordi's wardrobe choice at the festival became its own micro-controversy. The hat, a seemingly innocent fashion accessory, was dissected for meaning because of its proximity to the Biebers' event. Every small detail was magnified. Every photograph was examined frame by frame. The public had decided that this was a story worth telling, and they were going to wring every possible angle out of it. Kendall Jenner might be seeing someone new too. Hailey Bieber's friendship with Kendall is in trouble because of Jacob Elordi. It was a leap, certainly, but it was a leap the internet was more than willing to make, and one that the circumstances seemed, at least on the surface, to support. The question that lingered was not whether Kendall and Jacob were dating. The question was what it meant for the friendship between Kendall and Hailey. A friendship that had survived over a decade of public scrutiny, competing careers, overlapping social circles, and even a shared romantic history with Justin Bieber himself. To understand why this situation mattered, you have to understand the history between Hailey Bieber and Kendall Jenner. This is not a casual acquaintanceship. This is not two women who follow each other on Instagram and exchange polite comments. This is a friendship forged in adolescence and maintained through some of the most scrutinized years of their lives. Kendall Jenner and Hailey Bieber met in 2012 and have remained by each other's side since. That's over 10 years of friendship. Their parents run in the same circles, so they knew of each other for a while, but didn't officially meet until later on. It turns out they met at none other than the Hunger Games premiere. At the time, Kendall was 15 and Hailey was 16. Both were daughters of famous families, Kendall born into the Kardashian-Jenner dynasty, Hailey the daughter of actor Stephen Baldwin. Interestingly enough, Hailey was friends with Kylie Jenner before Kendall came into the picture. The girls hit it off at their first New York Fashion Week. Kylie did not take the friendship well at first. That detail, that Hailey originally bonded with Kylie, not Kendall, adds a layer to the story that's often overlooked. Kendall eventually became the closer friend, and the trio's dynamic shifted. In an interview with Vogue, Kendall recounted their first hangout by saying, "You were friends with Kylie and then you realized that I was more fun." Kendall said she and Hailey bonded over their many common interests, like living in New York and modeling. What started as a loose connection through Kylie quickly blossomed into something independent and deeply personal. They found in each other a mirror. Two young women navigating fame, fashion, and the chaos of growing up in public. Over the years, the friendship deepened in ways that went beyond typical celebrity alliances. There were times when Kendall and Hailey would practically be living together in Kim Kardashian's apartment, with Hailey just packing a suitcase from home and living with them for days to a week. They were in each other's homes, embedded in each other's daily routines. Kendall spoke about this bond in Hailey's YouTube series Who's in My Bathroom in 2021, saying, "I feel like we've both seen each other thrive at different times than others, and we've been there for each other through it all and not let it get in the way of our friendship," which I think is really special and important. Those words would take on a different weight in the context of 2026, when the question of whether anything could get in the way of their friendship was being asked louder than ever. The friendship survived one of the most potentially awkward complications imaginable: a shared romantic connection to Justin Bieber. In 2014, Kendall Jenner and Justin Bieber began hanging out and briefly dating. They were spotted out together on multiple occasions by paparazzi, and Justin even confirmed to Billboard that they dated, but it was never serious. Little did Kendall know that the man would end up being her best friend's husband one day. Only a few months after Kendall was seen with Justin, Hailey went out on a date with her future husband for the first time. The timeline is almost comically tight. Kendall and Justin's brief entanglement overlapped with the beginning of Hailey and Justin's love story. In most friendship circles, that kind of crossover would be a deal breaker. For Kendall and Hailey, it barely registered as a speed bump. Kendall showed no signs of tension or jealousy over the relationship between her best friend Hailey and Justin Bieber. Quite the contrary. She was happy as long as they were happy. She had been friends with the couple for quite some time and was genuinely supportive of them. When Hailey and Justin eventually married in September 2018 in New York City and held a larger ceremony in South Carolina in 2019, Kendall was there for all of it. Ahead of Hailey and Justin's second wedding celebration, Jenner helped plan Hailey's bachelorette party on September 25. The evening started with dinner at Wisabel, followed by drinks and dancing at Delilah. A source told Us Weekly that Jenner seemed like the ringleader of the party and was the one in charge of all the preparation. She wasn't just a guest, she was the one running things, the friend who took charge so that the bride could relax. Jenner attended Hailey and Justin's formal wedding ceremony at the Montage Palmetto Bluff in South Carolina on September 30th. She wore a form-fitting black and gold sleeveless gown for the event. The wedding photographs circulated widely, and Kendall's presence was noted by every outlet covering the event. She stood where bridesmaids stand. She occupied the space reserved for people who matter most. In the years that followed, the friendship continued to evolve in lockstep with their careers. From posing together at the Met Gala to getting matching tattoos, the duo built a bond that weathered the pressures of fame and fast-paced careers. They became fixtures at each other's events. Their brands increasingly intertwined. Kendall's 818 Tequila and Hailey's Rhode skincare line often shared promotional space at the same festivals and parties. The longtime BFFs hung out together during day one of Coachella 2025, where Kendall's tequila brand 818 hosted an afternoon event, which included a photo booth provided by Hailey's Rhode skincare company. Their friendship had become a business asset too. Two brands, two audiences, one shared community of fans who loved seeing them together. The cross-promotion was seamless, natural, and, most importantly, genuine. At the 2025 Met Gala, the longtime BFFs ran into each other, only to realize they were sporting similar outfits. "I feel like we have similar tastes sometimes," Kendall told Vogue's red carpet correspondent Emma Chamberlain, to which Hailey quipped, "A lot of people say we're like golden retriever, black cat, and I think that's very, very, very true." Even their personalities complemented each other in a way that was hard to manufacture. At a Dior pre-Oscars party in March 2026, The friends were attached at the hip all night long, but their looks couldn't have been further apart on the Dior spectrum. That event took place just weeks before Coachella, weeks before the Jacob Elordi rumors, weeks before everything the internet now believed had changed between them. The proximity of those two moments, the togetherness at Dior, the alleged betrayal at Coachella, was what made the story so compelling. But this was not the first time their friendship had been tested by public speculation. In late May 2023, reports began circulating that Jenner and Bieber were feuding, with evidence suggesting that the pair were no longer as close as they used to be. The internet's proof came in the form of the respective models' Instagram pages and summer vacation plans. Both Bieber and Jenner were yachting along the French Riviera during the Cannes Film Festival and Monaco Grand Prix. However, despite being on the other side of the Atlantic together, the best friends didn't meet up or address that fact on social media. The response from the two women was swift and characteristically unbothered. In an Instagram story, Bieber shared a selfie of herself and Jenner smiling at the camera. As they held a thumbs up, the two had dog ears and nose filters. Feuding read the text over the photo, which also had a heart emoji tacked on at the end. The message was clear: the internet was making things up, and they found it funny. Jenner and Bieber have been friends for years, with the two discussing their friendship in Bieber's YouTube channel. What's funny is I think that people actually think that we have this abnormal friendship. Abnormal, like we do all this crazy stuff together, said Bieber. When the reality is, like, we just sit at home and drink wine or watch movies. Like, it's so normal people don't even understand how normal it is. They had always been able to dismiss the rumors with a wink and a selfie. The question now was whether this time would be different. During a Valentine's Day special on Apple Music, Bieber said of Kendall, "When Kendall loves, she loves super hard." And I think that's a great quality. Those words hung in the air now, recontextualized by the Coachella drama. Kendall was apparently loving again, loving hard perhaps, and the object of that love had materialized at Hailey's party. The friendship between these two women had been publicly documented, publicly defended, publicly celebrated. It had survived Justin Bieber, rival fashion weeks, social media detectives, and the relentless grind of fame. But Jacob Elordi was a different kind of test. Not because of anything he had done wrong, but because of what his presence in Kendall's life implied about the shifting priorities of a woman who had always, publicly and privately, made her friendship with Hailey look like the most important relationship in her world. The internet was watching to see if the decade-long bond could survive. The arrival of the Euphoria star, and the internet, as it tends to do, had already decided the answer. Before all the facts were in, Jacob Elordi did not arrive in this story as a stranger. He arrived as one of the most talked about young actors in Hollywood, a man whose romantic history reads like a casting sheet of the entertainment industry's most prominent women, and whose career trajectory over the past 8 years has been nothing short of remarkable. To understand why his entanglement with Kendall Jenner set off the kind of firestorm it did, you have to understand who Jacob Elordi is and the world he moves through. Jacob Elordi entered Hollywood as an uncredited extra in Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Men Tell No Tales. In 2017, it was his first time on the sets of a Hollywood movie, and at that time he was just 17. Born in Brisbane, Australia, the 6'5" actor grew up far from the glitz of Los Angeles, attending a Catholic boys' school where he first developed a passion for acting. During his childhood, he was bullied in school for his height, but now it is one of his biggest advantages as an actor. Elordi first rose to fame thanks to his portrayal of Noah in Netflix's 2018 teen rom-com The Kissing Booth. On set for the movie, he found real-life romance with his on-screen love interest, Joey King, who played protagonist Elle. The two dated for a year before quietly splitting in 2018. Shortly after the first movie's release, that breakup, public, young, and complicated by the fact that they had to continue filming sequels together, was Elordi's first taste of the scrutiny that would follow his love life for years to come. The career kept building. Elordi's first major role after The Kissing Booth was Nate Jacobs on Sam Levinson's HBO series Euphoria, and he reportedly engaged in a brief romance with co-star Zendaya. Dating rumors began brewing about him and Zendaya after paparazzi captured photos of the two of them enjoying a vacation to Greece together in 2019. Elordi denied those rumors publicly, describing Zendaya as like my sister and lavishing praise on her work ethic. Over the next year, paparazzi continued to snap photos of the two on PDA-filled dates. In New York City, But when the world went into lockdown after the COVID-19 pandemic began in early 2020, the couple reportedly quarantined in separate corners of the globe, with Elordi in his home country of Australia and Zendaya in Los Angeles. The relationship ultimately fizzled out. The connection to Zendaya matters in the broader context of the Kendall story because it establishes a pattern. Elordi has a tendency to become romantically involved with women who are deeply embedded in the same social ecosystems he occupies professionally. Elordi's next major romance was with Kylie Jenner. He was first linked to the model in September 2020, after the pair were seen holding hands in New York City, with the couple's first public outing just so happening to fall on Zendaya's birthday. The timing was noted by fans with the precision of forensic accountants. Elordi and Gerber went on to date for over a year, with their relationship marked by public outings, family vacations, and matching Halloween costumes. Gerber opened up about the relationship in a June 2021 Vogue interview, saying, "Being able to be with someone I trust, where we don't want anything from each other, having a safe, steady relationship like that has really opened my eyes to the possibilities of love and what it feels like to love without conditions." The relationship appeared strong and grounded, until it wasn't. The couple split in November of that year. The breakup was described as amicable, and Elordi moved on with remarkable speed. In December 2021, Elordi was snapped getting coffee with Olivia Jade Giannulli, a famous YouTuber who was embroiled in the Varsity Blues college admission scandal. Rumors linking Elordi and Olivia Jade first emerged shortly after Elordi's split from Kylie Jenner, and since then the pair had been in an on-and-off relationship, marked by several rumored separations and reunions over the years. The Olivia Jade relationship would become the longest and most turbulent chapter of Elordi's romantic life. After initially parting ways in 2022, the two reconciled months later and went on to share romantic getaways in Italy and at Idaho's Lake Coeur d'Alene. Joined by Giannulli's parents, Lori Loughlin and Massimo Giannulli. Through 2023, sources described the pair as strong and happy, even as both focused on their growing careers. But the on-again, off-again nature of the relationship became its defining feature. They would disappear from public view, resurface together, vanish again, and then be spotted holding hands on a sidewalk in Soho. By 2025, breakup rumors began circulating again. In August 2025, people reported that Elordi and Giannulli called it quits, citing long-distance challenges. That split coincided with the most significant stretch of Elordi's professional career. At the 2025 Venice Film Festival, Elordi's film Frankenstein, directed by Guillermo del Toro, received one of the longest standing ovations. Days later, Warner Bros. Pictures dropped the trailer for Wuthering Heights, in which Elordi stars opposite Margot Robbie. Elordi had graduated from teen heartthrob to serious actor in the span of a few years. The actor started getting the attention of film critics who used to discard him earlier. Because of his image as a rom-com hero, he himself admitted that he wants to take on more character-driven roles, allowing him to showcase his acting prowess. The kissing booth felt like ancient history. Nate Jacobs was a launching pad. Frankenstein and Wuthering Heights were the destination. But even as his career ascended, the personal life remained noisy. In early 2026, after the couple was spotted attending a screening of Frankenstein in New York City, a source told Us Weekly that Elordi and Olivia Jade aren't putting a label on their relationship. We're seriously dating, adding, "There are still strong feelings between them." The two intermittently dated for more than 4 years. The ambiguity surrounding Elordi's status with Olivia Jade meant that when the Kendall rumors surfaced, the internet had an additional layer of drama to unpack. Reports surfaced that Elordi and Olivia Jade had parted ways, with a source stating bluntly, "Him and Olivia are so done." The finality of that statement was unusual in a relationship that had been defined by its lack of finality. Elordi was single. Truly single, it seemed, for the first time in years, and the timing aligned precisely with the emergence of the Kendall Jenner rumors. Jenner and Elordi had moved in overlapping celebrity circles for at least 4 years, their earliest documented shared appearance dates to late February 2022, when the two were photographed together in Paris alongside actor Dominic Fike and model Luca Sabat. They had also been seen at the same events, including Jenner's 2022 birthday celebration in Paris. The connection was old, the romantic dimension was new. In September 2024, both attended the Bottega Veneta Spring-Summer 2025 runway show in Milan. However, they were not photographed together at the event. They also attended overlapping events through the Chalamet-Kylie connection, including the 2026 Golden Globes and the Actors Guild Awards. Elordi was becoming a regular fixture in the Jenner-adjacent universe, drawn in through his friendship with Timothée Chalamet and the natural gravity of Hollywood's social geography. The 28-year-old Aussie actor keeps his personal life to himself. "I have a pretty strong refusal to lose my life to an industry," he explained on CBS Sunday Morning. "I consider myself an actor and just an actor. Privacy, for Elordi, is not a marketing strategy, it is a philosophy." He has consistently resisted the celebrity industrial complex, even as it has lavished him with attention, magazine covers, and brand ambassadorships. But privacy becomes complicated when you're photographed at an after-party hosted by one of the most famous couples on the planet, allegedly kissing the host's best friend. Elordi had managed for years to date famous women while keeping the details largely under wraps. Neither Jacob nor Kendall has spoken out to confirm or deny the rumors. Their silence was consistent with both their characters. But consistency does not neutralize curiosity. The man in the middle of this story had no public comment, no social media post, no cryptic caption. He existed in the narrative as a catalyst, the person whose presence turned a stable friendship into a question mark. Whether that characterization was fair or unfair depended entirely on what you believed had happened at that Coachella after-party, and what you believed it meant for the women involved. What made Jacob Elordi a particularly potent figure in this drama was not just his looks or his fame, it was his position in the social web. He was friends with Timothée Chalamet. Chalamet was dating Kylie Jenner. Kylie had pushed Kendall toward Jacob. Hailey had hosted the party where the romance went public. Justin Bieber had performed the concert that preceded the party. The connections were so intertwined that you couldn't pull on one thread without affecting the entire fabric. According to insiders, Kylie reportedly played matchmaker after Jacob and Timothée began spending more time together during awards season, with double dates taking place at Kendall's home alongside her sister and Chalamet. Double dates at Kendall's house, Hailey's party as the backdrop for the first public sighting, Kylie as the architect. It was a social engineering project that involved some of the most recognizable people in America, and Jacob Elordi was at the center of all of it. The actor who wanted nothing more than to be judged by his craft had inadvertently become the most discussed figure in a celebrity friendship drama. The irony was not lost on anyone. The man who described Zendaya as "like my sister" and who praised Kaia Gerber for teaching him how to deal with fame was now dealing with a new kind of attention, the kind that comes not from movie premieres or magazine profiles, but from the suspicion that your romantic life has disrupted a friendship the internet holds sacred. What happened after the Coachella reports was predictable in its intensity and unpredictable in its specifics. The internet, that vast, chaotic, opinion-generating machine, seized on the story and did what it does best: speculate, analyze, judge, and meme. Within days, every angle had been explored, every photograph had been examined, every past interaction had been reframed through the lens of the new information. And the exes, both Kendall's and Jacob's, became collateral characters in a story they had no part in starting. You can't complete a celebrity rumor without it including the exes of all parties involved in at least one form. Kendall Jenner has previously been romantically linked to Bad Bunny, Devin Booker, and several other guys. The 30-year-old counts Jordan Clarkson, Ben Simmons, and Devin Booker as former partners. Her dating history has been a recurring punchline on the internet. A parade of NBA players, a reggaeton superstar, and a former member of One Direction. Kendall herself had leaned into the jokes. "Haven't you heard? The internet says I'm cursed," Jenner said in the Bet on Kendall Fanatics commercial. "While the world has been talking about it, I've been betting on it," she continued, adding, "How else do you think I could afford all of this?" Modeling. The commercial was self-deprecating and sharp, an acknowledgement that her romantic life had become public entertainment, but the humor depended on the relationships being over. Jacob Elordi was not a punchline, he was a present reality. The Devin Booker thread was particularly notable. While Kendall tended to keep her relationship status under the radar, she and Devin enjoyed a flirty exchange in January 2026 that had fans raising their eyebrows. Under an ad Kendall did for Fanatics, Devin commented, "I bet $1 million the Seahawks get that ring before you do," alongside a blushing emoji. And when Kendall replied, poking fun at the Phoenix Sun player's recent sprain by asking how his ankle was, Devin replied, "Come rub it." That exchange, just 3 months before the Coachella bombshell, suggested to some fans that Booker might still have been in the picture. The revelation that Kendall was apparently already dating Jacob at that time added another wrinkle to an already complicated narrative. On Jacob's side, the Olivia Jade situation remained murky. Some reports stated that Jacob Elordi had allegedly broken up with Olivia Jade at the end of 2025, whilst other reports said the pair were seen together as recently as January and had never really stopped speaking to each other. In summary, the relationship status between Jacob Elordi and Olivia Jade was still uncertain. The lack of clarity about when exactly Jacob became single-fed into the narrative that he had jumped from one relationship to the next without proper closure. The US Sun also noted Elordi's previous relationship with Olivia Jade Giannulli ended in October 2025. Some outlets cited August 2025 as the end date. Others pointed to the January 2026 screening of Frankenstein in New York, where both Elordi and Olivia Jade were present, as evidence of an ongoing entanglement. The timeline was a mess, and every publication had a different version of events. Social media, meanwhile, was a bonfire of hot takes. Some users were less romantic and more cynical, suggesting celebrities simply leech onto any form of relevancy or current hype. Another commenter called Jacob a starfer, proving that no gossip cycle is complete without strangers speaking with the confidence of longtime family friends. The commentary ranged from lighthearted teasing to genuinely mean-spirited attacks, and the targets shifted depending on who was doing the posting. Someone on Reddit found proof that Jacob Elordi was at Dune Coffee, and the location of the Dune Coffee was right next to where Kendall Jenner lives. He could have been there to see Kendall, but maybe he goes to coffee like everyone else. Regardless, the cyber sleuths who love turning their time into a rabbit hole immediately began speculating. Every data point, no matter how benign, was weaponized. A man drinking coffee near a woman's house became evidence of a clandestine romance. The logic was tenuous, but the conviction was absolute. Hailey Bieber's social media activity was monitored with the intensity of a stock ticker. Every like, every follow, every story post was examined for signs of distress or disapproval. In previous situations, like the 2023 Monaco feud, Hailey had responded directly, posting a selfie with Kendall and the word feuding to shut down the speculation. This time there was no selfie, there was no caption, there was only quiet, and the internet read that quiet as confirmation that something was different. The Kendall and Justin history resurfaced, as it always does when the friendship between Kendall and Hailey is questioned. People who had only vaguely remembered that Kendall and Justin had briefly dated in 2014 were suddenly recirculating the story as though it were breaking news. The implication was not subtle. If Kendall was willing to date her friend's future husband, perhaps she was also willing to pursue a man who complicated that same friendship. That logic was flawed on multiple levels. Kendall's brief entanglement with Justin predated Hailey, and Justin's serious relationship by years. There was no overlap, there was no betrayal, but the internet does not deal in nuance. It deals in patterns, and the pattern it saw, or thought it saw, was a woman who had a history of letting her romantic interests intersect with her closest relationships. After Kendall Jenner's split with NBA guard Devin Booker in fall 2022, the model's love life got an assist from friends Justin Bieber and Hailey Bieber. The married duo were spotted enjoying a double date with the reality star and musician Bad Bunny in February 2023. That detail was significant because it showed just how intertwined these relationships were. Hailey and Justin had actively participated in Kendall's romantic life before helping to set up one of her most high-profile relationships. Now, the question was whether that dynamic had reversed, whether Kendall's new relationship was one that Hailey had not signed off on. The Bad Bunny connection added yet another thread to the already tangled web. Nearly 2 years after Bad Bunny split from Kendall Jenner, Hailey and husband Justin Bieber reconnected with Bad Bunny at the 2026 Grammy Awards. The trio posed for a photo together during the ceremony. Bad Bunny and Kendall split at the end of 2023 after 9 months of dating, but the former couple had proven there was no bad blood between them. Hailey's ability to maintain friendships with Kendall's exes spoke to the maturity of their social circle, or perhaps to the fact that, at this level of fame, the pool of potential friends and partners is so small that everyone is connected to everyone. The two even sparked rumors they were rekindling their romance after they were seen getting cozy during a 2024 Met Gala after-party. before vacationing together in Miami later that month. Kendall's romantic life had been a revolving door of public speculation for years. Every man she stood next to became a boyfriend. Every photo became evidence. The difference with Jacob Elordi was that the speculation was backed by multiple insider accounts, a specific location, Hailey's party, and an increasingly detailed timeline. The social media storm was not just about Kendall and Jacob, it was about the entire ecosystem. The Jenners, the Biebers, the Exes, the matchmakers, the party hosts, the anonymous sources. Everyone was connected, and every connection was scrutinized. The result was a narrative so complex that it resembled less a celebrity gossip story and more a sociological case study in how fame, friendship, and romance collide in the age of digital surveillance. While Kendall has lived her life in the spotlight on first keeping up with the Kardashians and then the Kardashians, and with a modeling career to boot, she's always tended to keep the details of her private life to herself. Her privacy was not the same as Jacob's philosophical rejection of celebrity culture. It was more strategic, a carefully maintained boundary that allowed her to exist in the public eye without being fully consumed by it. It was unusual when Kendall recently shared some rare insight into whether she envisions her future, including children. "I want to have some, but not right away," the 30-year-old told Vogue France in an interview published February 24th. "I want to make sure I can dedicate a lot of time to them, and for now, I'm still too busy." That interview, published just 2 weeks before the Vanity Fair Oscars party, where she and Jacob were photographed together, took on a different resonance in hindsight. Was she thinking about Jacob when she talked about her future? The question was impossible to answer, but impossible not to ask. "The most important thing will be to stay true to myself and continue having a good time," Kendall said. "It might sound like a cliche, but it's very important to me." Staying true to herself, that was the mandate she had set for 2026. The question was whether staying true to herself and staying true to her friendship with Hailey Bieber were still the same thing. Here's what we know, stripped of interpretation and inference. Kendall Jenner and Jacob Elordi are reportedly Hollywood's next it couple. According to People, Jenner has been quietly hanging out with Elordi, who's become an in-demand actor after starring in Frankenstein, Wuthering Heights, Priscilla, and HBO series Euphoria. Kendall was a little hesitant at first, just because of the friendship she shares with the Frankenstein actor. A source exclusively told Page 6, "They've known each other forever and run in the same circles," the insider said, noting that while the two have been around each other for years, their dynamic has definitely shifted recently. "Kendall's really private, so she's taking it slow," the source said. "She's not the type to jump into something, especially with someone she's been friends with." The picture that emerges from the insider accounts is one of caution, not recklessness. Kendall reportedly approached this relationship with awareness of its implications. The insider explained that Kendall's hesitation appeared to be easing. "She's more open to it now." The source added, noting that the pair are keeping it pretty casual for now, but there's interest there. The insider continued, "It didn't just happen overnight." That last phrase, "it didn't just happen overnight," was perhaps the most telling detail in the entire saga. It implied a slow burn, a gradual shift, and most importantly, a decision made with deliberation rather than impulse. Kendall's sister Kylie Jenner was supportive of the romance between Kendall and Jacob, believing they were a good match. The insider claimed Kylie believed Elordi would be a good match for her sister and pushed for them to explore a romantic relationship. Kylie liked him and thought he would be good for Kendall, the source said, adding that she encouraged Jenner to take the relationship beyond friendship. The family endorsement was clear and unambiguous. Kylie had done the vetting, made the introduction, and given her stamp of approval. But the family endorsement came from the Jenner side. There was no reported endorsement from the Bieber side. No source quoted Hailey saying she was happy for Kendall. No insider mentioned that Hailey had been consulted or informed. The asymmetry was notable. In a social circle where information travels at the speed of a group chat notification, the absence of Hailey's voice was its own kind of statement. Yet at Coachella itself, Kendall and Hailey were seen together. The longtime friends chatted as they went for a walk around the grounds of the music festival. They were photographed, they were described as friendly. There were no visible signs of tension, no cold shoulders, no averted gazes. If there was a rift, it was invisible to the cameras. Notably, the 30-year-old model has been seen with her rumored partners at the Met Gala, whether during the actual event or the after-parties. So with Met Gala 2026 around the corner, who knows what we might be privy to? The 28-year-old actor has only attended the event once in 2022, but he is an ambassador for Bottega Veneta, Cartier, and Bleu de Chanel, among other brands. So we might see a new interaction between the two if they both make it to the iconic Met steps in May. The Met Gala scheduled for May 2026 represented the next potential flashpoint. If Kendall and Jacob showed up together, the story would escalate. If Kendall showed up with Hailey instead, it would be read as a deliberate signal of where her priorities lay. The anticipation was palpable. Every upcoming event on the social calendar became a potential stage for the next act of this drama. Would Kendall and Hailey be photographed together at the Met? Would Jacob be at Kendall's side? Would there be a group photo? Kendall, Jacob, Hailey, Justin, that either confirmed the friendship was intact or revealed the fractures that the internet believed were there. Reports suggest Kendall and Jacob's connection is informal, yet deep, based on years of knowing each other in the same circles. And while the world speculates, Kendall Jenner continues living her romances under her own rules and terms. That characterization under her own rules and terms was the through line of Kendall's approach to her personal life. She had never apologized for who she dated, never explained her choices to the public, and never let the noise dictate her behavior. So where does Hailey Bieber fit in all of this? The honest answer is, nobody outside their inner circle knows. The internet has painted a picture of a friendship in crisis, of a best friend betrayed at her own party, of a bond broken by the arrival of a man neither woman asked the public to weigh in on. But the evidence for that picture is circumstantial at best. It is built on silence, inference, and the internet's chronic inability to accept that sometimes two famous women can navigate a complicated social situation without it turning into a war. The 2023 feud taught us something important about Kendall and Hailey. They are aware of what the internet says, and they find it amusing. On June 3, 2023, Bieber quashed reports by sharing a photo of the pair lounging around a pool together and minding their own business. No feud here, the photo seemed to say. In the image, the Rhode Beauty and 818 founders looked relaxed, posing with their thumbs up to prove the alleged bad blood was nothing more than tabloid fodder. But that response came within days of the original rumor. This time, weeks had passed since the Coachella reports, and no similar photo had appeared. No selfie, no caption, no thumbs up. Whether that meant something had changed, or whether it simply meant they were busy being adults, with lives that don't revolve around satisfying the curiosity of strangers, was ultimately a question only they could answer. Kendall Jenner and Jacob Elordi's sparkling romance has been drawing attention, with fresh reports suggesting their connection has been quietly developing over time. According to insiders, the reality star is moving carefully as she explores this new phase. The word carefully is worth noting. It suggests an awareness of consequences, of perceptions, of the people who might be affected by this relationship. Whether that awareness included specific concern for Hailey's feelings is unknown. But the fact that multiple sources describe Kendall's approach as deliberate and measured challenges the narrative of a woman who carelessly jeopardized her most important friendship. They've actually been spending time together for a couple of months now, just keeping it quiet. The source explained, they've just been hanging out more and seeing where it goes. Keeping it quiet, seeing where it goes. This is the language of two people who understand that their personal choices carry public weight, and who chose, for a time, to shield that process from the glare of celebrity culture. The insider continued, reporting that early interactions occurred in private settings, including gatherings at Kendall's home, where the pair reportedly spent time together with close friends. And Kenny found out she just clicked with Jacob. There was chemistry, the source said. The chemistry, if these accounts are accurate, was not manufactured or forced. It emerged naturally in private settings over a period of months. The Coachella kiss, if it happened, was not the beginning. It was the moment the private became public. The idea that Hailey Bieber ended her friendship with Kendall Jenner because of Jacob Elordi is, at this point, a conclusion without confirmed evidence. No statement has been made by either woman. No source has been quoted saying Hailey is angry, hurt, or distancing herself. The narrative has been constructed almost entirely from the raw materials of social media behavior, or more precisely from the absence of social media behavior. What the internet sees as proof of a rift, the lack of a joint selfie, the absence of a public reconciliation photo, the quiet from Hailey's camp, could just as easily be two women choosing not to perform their friendship for public consumption. At a moment when the public is paying uncomfortably close attention, there is a difference between a friendship ending and a friendship being tested. And there's a difference between two people growing apart and two people choosing not to feed the beast of speculation. Kendall shared her feelings on their close bond in Bieber's Who's in My Bathroom series in 2021, saying, "I feel like we've both seen each other thrive at different times than others, and we've been there for each other through it all and not let it get in the way of our friendship, which I think is really special and important. Not let it get in the way." Those were Kendall's words, spoken half a decade ago but echoing loudly in the present moment. The "it" at the time was vague. Competition, fame, the natural friction of growing up in public. Today, it has a name, Jacob Elordi. The truth, as it often is in celebrity stories, is probably somewhere in the middle of the extremes. Hailey Bieber and Kendall Jenner have not issued a joint statement declaring their friendship over, nor have they posted the kind of reassuring content that has previously put rumors to rest. The situation exists in a gray area, uncomfortable, ambiguous, and perfectly designed to keep the internet talking. What we can say is this: what makes the bond between Kendall Jenner and Hailey Bieber seem so genuine is that despite knowing each other for over 10 years, working in the same career field, and even dating some of the same men, these two have remained just as close since day one. Whether that sentence is still accurate in the spring of 2026 depends on who you ask and how much weight you give to the silence that has followed the loudest rumor of the year. The internet wants a clear narrative: betrayal, fallout, ending. Real friendships rarely offer that clarity. They bend, they stretch, they absorb shocks that would shatter lesser connections. Whether the Kendall-Hailey friendship can absorb the shock of Jacob Elordi is a question that may take months or years to answer. But the fact that people care so deeply about the answer says something about the friendship itself. It has always felt real, and nobody wants to watch something real break apart over something as ordinary and as complicated as falling for someone new. The most important thing will be to stay true to myself and continue having a good time, Kendall said about her plans for 2026. Jacob Elordi, for his part, has said nothing. Hailey Bieber has said nothing. Justin Bieber has said nothing. Kylie Jenner, who reportedly started this entire chain reaction, has said nothing. And the millions of strangers on the internet who have decided that they know what happened, what it means, and how it will end. Perhaps the most revealing detail in this entire story is one that has been largely overlooked. At Coachella, on the night everything supposedly changed, Kylie Jenner, Kendall Jenner, Timothée Chalamet, Hailey Bieber, Jacob Elordi, and friends were all photographed together after Justin Bieber's show, all of them together in one frame. If a friendship had ended that night, the photograph suggests no one had gotten the memo. The story of Hailey Bieber, Kendall Jenner, and Jacob Elordi is still being written. The chapters that exist so far are full of anonymous sources, unconfirmed reports, social media analysis, and a great deal of projection from an audience that has watched these women grow up and desperately wants to understand what happens next. The ending, if there is one, has not been written yet, and given the resilience of the friendship at the center of this story, it would be unwise to bet against a resolution that looks nothing like the dramatic collapse the internet is predicting.